uh, here in this session I will explain you what is angular velocity, we call it omega, what is linear velocity, what is time period, then what is frequency, and how these physical quantities are interrelated. Okay, let us suppose a particle rotating in a circle, and suppose this particle goes from the point P to Q. It goes from P to Q. So if we join, this is the chord PQ, this is nothing but the delta L, this is the linear displacement, this is chord PQ, and this angle which it subtends at the center of the circle is suppose delta alpha, and the time taken to cover this distance from P to Q is suppose delta T. So average velocity is equal to displacement by time delta L by the time taken to cover this distance delta T. Now if P tends to Q, P and Q are very close, or if we say that velocity at any instant of time or velocity at a particular point, so then this is called instantaneous velocity, velocity at any instant or velocity at a specific point. So we consider the limit of average velocity. So when P tends to Q, Q and P are very close points, so if we take the limit with delta L tends to 0 and delta T tends to 0, so limit of delta L by delta T, so this comes out to be calculus symbol, this is dl by dt, dl by dt. This is called instantaneous velocity. Say let it be 1a, equation number 1a. Now angular velocity in time delta t, it covers an angle delta alpha, so in delta t second it subtends an angle say delta alpha at the center, so in 1 second it subtends an angle delta alpha by delta t. So this is called the angular velocity, that is angle made at the center per second. So this omega means the angular velocity, average angular velocity is nothing but the delta alpha by delta t. Now in order to find out the instantaneous angular velocity, so we have to proceed towards limit. So omega instantaneous is nothing but the limit of omega average, so where delta alpha tends to 0, delta t tends to 0, P tends to Q, so it is delta alpha by delta t, so say it is dl by dt. So let us represent it by 2a. Now in this arc PQ, this is the arc PQ which subtends an angle delta alpha, and this radius OQ is r. Okay, now from the geometry we know that delta alpha is arc PQ by the radius. Now if delta alpha tends to 0 means if P tends to Q, when if we consider the limit, then when P tends to Q, delta alpha tends to 0, and at that point of time there will not be any difference between arc PQ and chord PQ. These two become same when the P and Q are very close points. So then it becomes a straight line, means chord PQ and arc PQ will be same. So we say that if P tends to Q, then the arc PQ tends to chord PQ. Okay, and chord PQ is delta alpha. So we can find, we can say that delta alpha will become delta L by R. Is it clear? Now average velocity, now this equation is 3. Now put this equation 3 in this equation number 1. So equation 1 states that the average velocity is delta L by delta T. Okay, and delta L is what? Delta L is nothing but delta alpha into R. So delta alpha into R by delta T, and delta alpha by delta T, this is from equation 2 is omega average. So VA equal to R, and delta alpha by delta T is omega average. So V equal to R omega, but you know that this velocity is a vector quantity, radius vector is a vector quantity, omega is also a vector quantity. So therefore we can represent this is the direction of omega, this is the direction of R, this is the direction of linear velocity V. So V we can represent as omega cross R. Now we will find what is the relation between these physical quantities like frequency, time period and omega. So omega we find equal to V by R. Now this particle in T is the, let T be the time period. Time period T means it starts from this point and covers up to the whole circle and comes to this point in time T. So when the particle completes one rotation, it's make an angle 180 degree, pi, 2 pi at the center. So in time period T, the particle makes an angle 2 pi at the center. So in 1 second the particle makes an angle 2 pi by T at the center. So angle subtended per second at the center is nothing but the omega, angular velocity. So we say omega is 2 pi by T. Now say this is equation number say 4. Now frequency. What is frequency? The number of revolutions made by the particle per second. So if n is the frequency, it means that n times the particle moves in 1 second. So one rotation in 1 by n second. So per second the particle in one rotation, for one rotation completion the particle takes 1 by n second, but you know that the time taken for completing one rotation is time period. So T is 1 by n. So time period and frequency are inversely related. So equation number 5. From this equation, omega equal to 2 pi by T, 1 by T is n, 2 pi n, from equation 4 and 5. So these are how these physical quantities omega, the angular velocity, linear velocity, radius vector, time period and frequencies are related in circular motion. See you in next video.